That's wild.
That's pretty sick. What's that dude name?
Star Wars
Theory. That's cool. Man, the amount of money and time that goes into it. I mean, he's making a movie. That's basically what he's doing. How many subscribers does he have?
He has 28 million.
Oh, whoop. There you go. There you go.
Oh,
man. Dude, have you ever parked even temporarily in a handicap spot?
Yeah.
Just to get in, like you run into Starbucks or something like that.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah. I feel bad when I do it, but
do you feel bad?
Yeah.
You feel so bad that you only did it like 20, 21 times.
To be fair, when I had my hips replaced, that's when I did it.
Oh, okay. Oh, nah, you're good. This motherfucker. I'm about to tell a story about me just doing it to run into the store. He was actually handicapped. Oh man, I did it today.
Oh no,
I did the run into Trader Joe's real quick.
Oh yeah, dude, that parking's crazy there though.
I was like, no one ever parks in this spot ever. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and run in. Because I was just picking up a box of bottles of wine.
Right.
And I'm running real quick. And as soon as I drive up, this old lady pulls in behind me, looking, and I saw the little decal and everything. I was like, shit, I feel like such a piece of shit. I was like, I'm leaving, ma'am. I'm leaving. I hadn't even been in yet.
Did she start waving her cane at you from outside the window? Here's my...
I was like, damn. And I knew I was wrong. I knew I was dead ass wrong, but, you know. You do what you got to do for convenience. Welcome to the Alpha Geek Podcast, where we embrace our geekdom and respect everyone else's. Please like and subscribe to get our content, to help the page continue to grow. Small click for you, big things for us. We really appreciate you. We are your hosts. I am Antoine Britt.
And I am Taras Denisenko. And if you are liking and subscribing, just to let you know, we broke 50,000 subscribers.
Thank you, guys. 50K. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Man.
You want to hear our BS?
Yeah.
That's cool. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Ever since we started this, we find out more and more that we can BS about.
It is.
It's like you said last episode, like once you start getting all that information, that is it a blessing or is it a curse?
Yes. So, yeah. Like Thanos said, cursed with knowledge. We are cursed with knowledge these days. And I mean, we got to decide what we're going to do with it. But I mean, Disney makes it so easy for us to be total a-holes about everything that's coming out. And there's a lot coming out, like you said.
There is. Yeah, have you, before we get into it, I had something happen to me a couple nights ago, which made me feel like I was in LA. Like crazy. I've never seen a high-speed chase before.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Dude, I was going down 264 to this motorcycle, ripping. You could hear him like down the road. He was like, wow, and just right by me. And I'm like, it's just some punk. He's going to just get him. He's going to get in an accident or whatever. State trooper, right by. Man. Dude, I've never seen that. Really? I was like, and I used to have a bike, and I'm like, I would never, ever do that. But I mean, it's just, if you crash, it's like, that dude was running for a reason.
Like, 100%.
Why was he running?
100%. Yeah. I don't know if they practice that in this state, but I know in a lot of states where I've visited for training camps and everything like that, California, Texas, even at Georgia, if someone's running at a high speed, the cops will just let them go. Yeah. They'll just let them, because it's way too dangerous.
It's way too dangerous
to continue to chase them.
Yeah.
Virginia, they don't give a fuck.
That trooper was like, sweet.
He was like, I've been waiting all my life for this.
Seriously, he probably was. Man, it's so crazy. But like at this day and age, like, I mean, he was going towards the ocean front. I'm like, how far are you going to get? Like, you're going to get caught.
Oh, yeah.
You're definitely going to get caught.
Unless you circle back and try to, jump on another X, which,
yeah.
If you're like you said, if you're running at that point, the chance of you getting caught are like 70%, and then I guess the faster you go, those ratios drop. But man, I don't know anyone personally who's ever like ran from the cops, even at a younger age.
Yeah. And especially with those bikes, like if you're going to be in a high speed chase or running from the cops, I heard his bike from a mile down the road.
Right. Yeah.
And like, it's like, did you ever put, what are those, those canned mufflers.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
No, I did not.
I was like, that was a fad for a while. I was like, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah. My back in my day, before I signed with the UFC, right when I was signing with the UFC, I was a avid rider. I had a cruise. I had a Vulcan. I had a CBR 929, and I had an FZR 1000.
Oh wow!
So I had a couple of nice Formula bikes, and then that cruiser. But I got up to about 117, going down 17, heading to Carolina, and I got to the point. You ever seen Biker Boys, where like everything around you just starts to go into a haze?
Yeah.
And I realized then that if I hit anything, a pebble, that could be the end.
Yeah.
And that was like a self-realization I had like right then and there, and I never went over the speed. Well, within reason.
Yeah.
I never sped on that thing again.
Yeah.
It was just because I had kids.
Yeah.
I was like, this could end badly. And there's no, if you fall off a bike or you lay it down, you're like, it's no good scenario.
Nope.
Like you're road rash, broken this, lose a foot, lose an ankle, lose a leg. Like it's you gotta respect those things, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Years ago, me and my buddy Todd, we went, we had working out in California. My buddy Chris brought us both out there to work in Hayward. And so we had to fly into Oakland. And we were like, oh, let's just rent a couple Harleys. And so we had like a day off or like an afternoon off. I don't remember. But anyway, we drove into Oakland, rented a couple Harleys, and we rode. And I wasn't that confident. And my buddy Todd, he was just like, right down the highway. He's like, I grew up in DC, man. He's like, I rode the Beltway. I'm like, bro, you're crazy, man. I was like the old man in the Harley, just like
easy rider. Yeah. You got to respect those things, man.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep. Cool.
Topics of today.
Yeah.
Taras got a whole laundry list.
I got a list. Yeah. Well, so not too much. Well, not too much on Disney, but more Joe Rogan. Two guests we I think are worth listening to: Katt Williams and Zack Snyder.
Hell yeah.
And I came across more Star Wars stuff, and like talking about that information, I came across Star Wars Theory YouTube channel, and this dude came up with some really awesome content. Want to kind of just touch base on, and I don't know if we had time, but there's some UFC I want to cover with you.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. You're always down for that. And there's still fear of a little bit of gender swapping in the third act of the Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
We hope we don't get it, but we know they got rewrites coming up or reshoots coming up in the month of April, so Feige and Iger still want to sneak that in there. So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I think I'd like to maybe just start with some Joe Rogan stuff.
All right.
Just with Zack Snyder. Cool podcast. It was like under 2 hours. It was really fun to listen to him, but he didn't really, which I was disappointed a little bit. I was like hoping that we'd get some more like inside scoop on what he's thinking. But he really went into depth about the director's cut stuff, and it's come to, Rebel Moon.
Okay.
So Rebel Moon is a thing that he talked about, and that's his pet project. And he said that there's two versions. The Netflix, when he did the whole deal with Netflix, he's like, I want to be able to do two of these. The PG-13, and he wants a rated R version.
Okay.
And I thought, I was like, whoa, this is interesting. And there was no lead into that this is him going for Star Wars. This is just a thing that he wanted to do based on the comic books Heavy Metal.
Oh, okay.
So, do you remember those?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot about those.
Yeah.
They were cool books.
And he was talking about when he was a kid, that was like his comic book of choice, and he always hid the it's for adults from his mom, and his mom ended up getting him a subscription to it. But he was kind of funny talking about that. But his whole premise of doing Rebel Moon is based on that comic book, and he wants a movie version of Heavy Metal.
Really?
Like, yeah, it was really interesting. So there's like, so y'all, I would recommend like listening to it. It's pretty funny. It's really it's funny in that I was like, really? It's interesting funny.
He's a pretty eclectic guy. Zach is he's I feel like he's the guy you want to direct your movie.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna go in and do the work to make it to keep it genuine to what the source material is.
Yeah.
And we've seen that across the board with everything that he's done for Warner Brothers and DC and everything like that. And the biggest knock on Rebel Moon was that it was a quote unquote cheap knockoff of Star Wars.
Right.
Partially because he had pitched a darker version of Star Wars to Disney.
Yeah.
And for a lot of different reasons, they denied it. But I'm glad they're doing a R-rated version of Rebel Moon, because the PG 13 version was not great.
Yeah.
It was, and not that the story wasn't great. It was a long movie, which we know Zack Snyder is known for making long movies, but all of the fight choreography and the battle choreography was just looked watered down. I mean, there was no blood. It just lacked realism for me. That was just my take on it. So I'm glad that the Snyder cut is gonna have going to be a rated R version. I'll rewatch it for that.
Yeah, he also makes comments about that because it was PG-13, because Netflix was, this is what they wanted. He was like, I have to take all that back, because he prepped all his actors and all the fight scenes to be rated R. So if you haven't listened to it yet, it's a good listen, because he talks about the fight choreographers, the trainers. He commented about Henry Cavill and the physique that they get into. So it was really interesting how he prepped for the movies, and he doesn't apologize at all for the length. He's like,
really?
3 hours, man. It's
yeah,
3 hours.
3
it's
hours.
Like, that's what you want.
I mean, they've done it before. Titanic, some Star Wars movies. I mean, there's long movies out there that, I don't think the length of the movie is going to be a huge deterrent, especially if it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a great film. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He also goes into like the whole streaming thing, and then that he prefers now the streaming versus theaters, because getting the movie out, he was talking about like back in the day that you would have to jump through hoops to try to pitch it. And the executives of these companies, of the film companies, had more power. And it's funny, like we're talking about how Iger has all this power. He's like, well, they had more back then. Whereas now he could pitch it to some streaming service and he can do whatever he wants. And they'll pay for it. So
wow.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear about that. So he's got some cool insights on that.
I wonder, because when you're a high powered director like the Snyders and the Scorseses and the Camerons and things like that, is it commonplace to get Final Cut on all those films? Or is it, I know it's a case by case basis, but of course you have more negotiating power if you're one of these directors to say, like, no matter what you think of the movie, Final Cut is mine,
Yeah.
So.
He said no. He's like, until he was who he is now, he did like a whole bunch of commercial work, but he was always locked into what the marketing team wanted. And he kind of was bashing the marketing team in that, and he didn't really get too much into it, or if he did, I don't remember it. But that was another fascinating thing. So it's not just like the Iger, but it's like whoever the president of marketing is like, well, I want this.
Yeah.
And so
for whatever reason. To sell toys, to sell merch, whatever. Yeah. Well, good on him.
Yeah.
Good on Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the few directors who can do that, right?
Yeah.
You say, okay, this is what I'm gonna make. I don't care what what the execs say, what the marketing team says is gonna be it.
I also wonder if and going back into like Star Wars, like maybe he couldn't say anything about Star Wars because it's like, you're right. It's like, it was like a Star Wars knockoff. And we had mentioned before that it was like maybe a pitch to be able to run that franchise.
Yeah.
But he made no mention of it. So I wonder if that was like on purpose.
Good. Yeah.
Very intentional.
Yeah. I wouldn't if I was him. Hell no.
Yeah.
Because, we don't know how these movies are going to be received, just like Star Wars itself. These movies have been received, in a wonderful way for the last, 50, 60, 70 years, however long it's been. But we don't know what the initial response to those movies were. Yeah. Because I wasn't, maybe you were around. I wasn't.
I ain't apologize. I was around.
Just fucking with you.
I was 2.
So, I mean, you just never know.
Yeah.
And so, this Rebel Moon might be in 20 years might be the the measuring stick for these movies. You never know.
There is a thing about movies aging well. Some movies age really well, and some don't. And I wanted to kind of circle back around when we get to it, just about aging actors and movies and how they do well.
Okay.
But staying on Joe Rogan, Katt Williams, I started it, and it was weird, dude. But you went through the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I went through the whole thing. It was actually, I'm not gonna say painful, but it took me. It took me a while. It took me like 4 or 5 days to get through it because, you turn it on, turn it off.
Yeah.
It didn't capture my attention like I thought. Because, of course, you coming off everything that's been going on with Katt, you think they're going to touch on that a little bit more, talk about comedy. Because when like Dave Chappelle's on, they talk about comedy. They talk about, or not, and he's not doing bits the whole time, but he's talking about the state of, comedy and stand-up and things of that nature. But it was just like... just a boring conversation.
It was.
It's almost like a conversation someone sober would have with someone who's high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like one of them is trying to really get deep and trying to have this, this aha moment type thing.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan's just trying to just have a conversation. We're just trying to chill.
Yeah.
And it turned into... it's become what Joe Rogan Podcast is. And some of them, of course, are more entertaining than others based on who he has. But you just assume having Katt Williams on is going to be entertaining,
right?
And it really
wasn't.
Yeah.
Did they? I didn't get through it all, but did they touch on joke stealing at all?
Not to the part I got up to. I'm about 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
And up to that point, I don't think they hadn't touched on it.
Okay.
They had just. They were finishing up talking about all the, him reading 3,000 books or 8,000 books a year or something like that. So,
I think Shannon Sharp's reaction to him was probably more what made it kind of happen. So I don't know, because he was like, what?
I think he actually, the way he reacts to the way the way Shannon Sharp reacts, it makes you want to talk shit about people. He's like, oh no, hell no, Katt. Come on, man. That ain't how it went down. Did it go down like that, Katt? Like he does that, and it makes you want to kind of double down on it. Hell yeah, that's how it went down. Now you're turned up because he's turned up. But Joe Rogan is just like super somber and just kind of just monotone.
Yeah, I got 30 minutes into it, and he seemed to try to get more, I don't know, more lively about it. But Katt also seemed kind of he wanted to be spiritual, and he just wanted to be deep, and he wanted to be philosophical. And then I was like,
yeah, this doesn't make a great TV. Get him out of there. You just see a hook just come out of nowhere, just pull him off.
I came across, when you start searching stuff, again, that whole information thing, Carlos Mencia popped up on my feed, and Joe Rogan going after Carlos Mencia and the whole joke stealing thing. But I guess Brendan Schaub and brought back up to Joe, and this is a while ago, so this is old news about the whole Carlos Mencia thing.
Okay.
And I didn't realize Brendan Schaub, I knew he was doing comedy, but I didn't really realize that he was really into comedy.
Yeah, he is, and he's not that great.
I was gonna say,
stand up. Yeah, he's not. His stand is funny, and we kind of talked about it a little bit on a previous podcast. Brendan Schaub is super funny. I've had conversations back. We both fought. We were both, on the Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that. And I've never, in groups of people, nothing super intimate, but the way that he says things and the way that he tells a story and delivers, his delivery is so funny just to hear him have a conversation. But when he goes up on stage and tries to do a bit, it's not funny. It's not funny. He's one of those people, he needs a one-man show.
Yeah.
Just talk about some experience in his life or something like that. He's way funnier when it seems organic for him just to be, talking about whatever. But, guilty by association or successful by association.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just interesting. I was wondering if Katt would talk about that joke stealing because Joe is so sensitive about it. And I think he's still sensitive about it because Carlos Mencia, he was up there.
Yeah.
And now he's nowhere.
He did that years ago. Like that whole Carlos Mencia's joke stealing thing. That was back in like 2010, 11, something like that. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And some stuff you just can't recover from. Yeah. And this is what you do.
Yep.
And you can't even do this right. The one thing that you do.
Yeah.
You got to steal somebody else's shit.
They were saying to Carlos Mencia, like, why don't you just apologize? Like, why didn't you ever go and apologize? Because he doubled down on that. He's like, I never stole anything. He's like, you could watch all my videos. He's like, the only reason that I don't make it is because I wasn't on the internet.
Yeah.
And the other comedians were like, no, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if you own it, you're gonna have the sharks. The sharks are gonna smell blood in the water, and they're gonna pounce for a little while.
Yeah.
And then they start to give you grace.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what happened with Cedric the Entertainer, because Cedric never said that he didn't steal a joke.
Yeah.
He went on and said, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The timeline doesn't make sense. But he never verbatim said that I never stole any of Katt Williams' material.
Yeah.
And then he went radio silent. After that, you haven't heard anything from him. Same thing with Steve Harvey. Haven't heard anything from him.
Nope.
Because, they know, because there's legitimacy to it. And when there is, the best thing you can do is just step back and just ride the wave. Just let it pass. 3 months, we'll be on to some other shit.
Yep. The one thing that I thought was interesting that Joe and Katt were talking about is the amount of comedians that are in the world. He's like, there's probably only like 500 comedians in this entire world. Yeah. He's like, I don't even think that's even a realistic number.
Yeah.
So
like
I was
paid comedians. Yeah. I remember that part.
And especially now that they're like, it's even harder to be that.
Yeah. I mean, because the tide is so high, right?
Yeah.
You got so many great comedians and we have been spoiled by content. Like we get to hear, even if we don't go and sit down and see the Chris Rock, the Kevin Hart's, the whoever else, the internet is full of their bits.
Oh yeah.
And that shit is funny. I want to go see that person. Or you tell somebody at work the joke that you heard. But what's not funny at that point now. And now you got this this open micer trying to come up and tell a joke, and you're like
yeah.
And I think comedy as a whole, it's the fan base. They give grace. They'll let you kind of like work your stuff. Of course you'll go into some harder rooms and they'll be tough on you, but for the most part, they'll let you come and work. You'll have some hiccups. You'll make some mistakes, but they'll give you a chance to kind of like find your identity.
Yeah.
And Star Wars isn't like that.
No.
You get one shot.
You get one shot. Yeah. So going back into Star Wars, and just mentioning the aging thing, Hayden Christensen was recently interviewed on some magazine. I don't remember the magazine, but if anybody follows Star Wars Theory, it's another YouTuber, great channel. He's got a bunch of content and 50 million subscribers or something like that. But he read the article, the interview where they were questioning Hayden Christensen, not about like, oh, what was it like to get this gig? And what was it like? What did it do for you? They were actually questioning him about like Star Wars lore and myths. And the guy from Star Wars Theory is a huge fan of Anakin and Darth Vader. And Hayden Christensen was really plugged into the character. He knew a lot about why the suit is the way it is. And I never knew that the suit was designed, again, this is going to slam Disney in a second, but the suit was designed to keep Vader not to be able to reach his full potential. So Palpatine specifically made it painful, restricting. Vision was only so far. It was really fascinating to read about the suit. The armor was limiting. I was like, wow, that's so cool. And like Hayden Christensen knew all that. He just knew about the comics.
Wow.
So I don't think Natalie Portman did that for Palpatine.
She didn't do that. No. And that's cool in itself to have an actor, because like you said, he wasn't well received at the beginning.
No.
And now he is Darth Vader. Like between him and James Earl Jones, they are Darth Vader, right? And a lot of that is because the fans know that he is knowledgeable about this stuff. Like he's a student of this game, and the fans respect that more, especially more now with everything that's coming down the pipe with Disney and with Star Wars and the higher ups that are just kind of like phoning this shit in right now.
Yep.
So yeah,
and those actors who are playing these roles, I mean, that the fans, that's your fan base. This is the fans that support this series, this franchise to last for eternity.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, and nothing against like Rebel Moon, but maybe Rebel Moon will age well, but that potentially could be a franchise. I don't know. But Star Wars is that is a cultural phenomenon that is part of who we are. And like for Disney to sit there and be like, I'm going to change this, I'm going to do this. We want to get rid of the whole Skywalker thing. That's why people are pissed.
Yeah.
And the actors don't know anything because they don't take time. I guess Hayden Christensen, maybe because he doesn't have any other gigs, he goes to these conventions.
Yeah.
He visits with these fans. And the Star Wars Theory guy, he met with Hayden and he had conversations with Hayden. So he takes time to talk with even Mark Hamill. I mean, he goes to those things. And so,
yeah, hell yeah. This is an opportunity for you to really continue the build. Like we've been waiting for of Darth Vader's side story. The fans have been waiting for that forever. What happened in between this time and this time?
Yeah.
From, peak Darth Vader to what we got in Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
So
could you imagine if they did a live action of Clone Wars?
Oh, hell yeah.
That would be amazing.
That would be sick. And there was actually rumors that was going to happen at one point.
I
don't know. One of the many projects that Disney and Star Wars and Marvel is shelving right now. But, with Hayden, how old is he? 35, late mid-30s, early 40s maybe? He's young. He's young. I mean, theoretically, he can play Darth Vader for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
So
you got it.
Why not do that?
Do it. Yeah. Just do it. Like, people will love it. So the Star Wars Theory thing, I kind of started showing Antoine a little bit of this video, but the fan base is making their own little side things. This video, I think they only made one, probably because it's expensive and huge time commitment, but it's called Vader, Shards of the Past. It's super cool. I'll try to put a link in. We're gonna try one of these. I'm going to put a link right here.
Is that where it is? It's over there. That's where the link's at, in that corner.
But it was pretty cool. It's like just a dream sequence that Vader has, and that's all I'll just say. Just watch it. But it's like a couple of years old.
It is very cool. It's pretty sick. And he 28 million subscribers. You gotta be doing something right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Man, going over to the MCU side, there's still, now we talked about it a few podcasts ago now, how because of the whole DEI agenda that Disney wanted to introduce some gender swap versions of the X-Men in the third act of Deadpool. Well, Ryan Reynolds and the writing team over at Deadpool went to bat, and Hugh Jackman, they all went to bat and got that nixed. But that doesn't mean that Disney didn't want to continue to try to push that DEI agenda via some sort of gender swapping in the third act of Wolverine. So, rumor that there's going to be a fight between Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and a gender swap multiverse version of Wolverine.
Wow.
Now, not to get confused with X-23, because all the fandom know that there is a female Wolverine, X-23, the genetic daughter of Wolverine, but it is not X-23. It is a gender swap version of the Wolverine character that they wanted to reshoot beating the Hugh Jackman Wolverine in the third act of the movie. So let's just hope that doesn't happen. What do you think of that?
I think it's bull.
It is. It's bullshit, dude.
I'm going to go back to Hayden Christensen and Zack Snyder being fans of the comics, because it's like, are those writers or those executives, do they even know what X-23 is? Do they even know? it's or they just like, I'm going to do this just because I want to do this. Like, I don't know. So
now to continue the story, now it's not written in stone right now. So let's hope we don't get it. But at some point, Disney does want to introduce a female version, a multiverse version of Wolverine. And the rumor is that if they don't put it in this movie, that they're going to introduce it in season 2 of X-Men 97. So let's
interesting.
Let's hope for the best. I mean, and I don't get the whole gender swapping thing. Like there are plenty of, between X-Men and X-Force, there are plenty of female characters.
Yeah.
Plenty. Like, put them in the movie.
Yeah.
I would love to see Storm, Dazzler, Jubilee, Jean. I would love to see Domino. Why take Domino out of the movie? She was one of the best parts of the second Deadpool movie. Bring her back.
Bring her back.
You know, I don't get why it has to be a gender swap version of these characters. Do you think that those female characters would carry more weight because these male the male version of those characters are just bigger characters? Like let's go ahead and gender swap Magneto because Magneto's super popular instead of just bringing in Storm.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get it.
I don't get it. It's like these characters have backstories. These characters are the way they are, who they are because of their backstories. Just gender swapping. What's the backstory of that? You're just
just a female,
just to do it.
Yep.
Just to do it. So the fandom is, you get backlash because you're just doing stuff that you just feel like it's just some executive in a room that's like, it's like in a Barbie movie when she goes up into the boardroom and they're all in the circle and they're all just like, Will Ferrell's just like, we need to do this because it's this or whatever. They're just like pulling stuff out of their butts. And yes, I quoted the Barbie movie.
But let's take it one step further. Do you think it's a power play? Do you think that it's a power play to have a female version of the same character beat a legacy version of the original character, like Hugh Jackman is Wolverine now?
Yeah.
Do you think I want to say this so I don't get beat up outside, but to have a female version of the same character kind of quote unquote dethrone the male version of that character, do you think is some sort of feminist power play?
So do you think it's Kathleen Kennedy saying that I will rule the world and women will rule the world and we have all the, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
I mean, because I don't see any other purpose.
Right.
You know, from a monetary standpoint, you would have way more success character building female characters that are already there, i.e., again, Storm, Dazzler, Rogue, whoever, than you would trying to create this character out of air and trying to superimpose them onto the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, man.
It's weird.
In the comments, tell us what you think.
Yeah.
I want to know, because I want to know if there's something I'm missing, because that could be it. We could be missing something that's not that we're just not seeing it, and we're not understanding the logic behind some of these, moves that are being made. Yeah. Enlighten us. I want to know.
I mean, I partially just popped in my head as like, maybe it's come to the point where the fandom, they really feel that's a very loud noise that they're hearing now, and they're probably like, this is my house, and if I want to, for lack of a better word, if I want to shit all over my house, I'm going to do it. Because it's my house.
It could be that too,
It could be that.
Like
petty.
These fucking fans are not going to tell us what to do, when to do it.
Yeah.
Like just out of spite.
Yeah. Could be.
Man, I hope that's not the case. That's how you get broke real fast. Yeah. Doing shit out of emotion is how you get broke real fast.
For sure.
So Elon Musk, they gonna call that Tesla land here in about 2 years.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Elon running for president?
Yeah, oh man, dude.
I don't think he could though. Could he?
I think he likes. Yeah, he's not American.
Yeah.
But he likes money too much to run for president.
Yeah. They always say, like, we had a student that took lessons for a long time. He was a former vice admiral in the Navy, and he mentioned that he worked with Colin Powell. He called him, he's like, my friend Colin Powell, General Powell. And I said, because I was a big fan of Colin Powell. Like, I don't know, there was something about him, and I was like, how come he never ran for president? And he's like, because he's too smart.
Yeah,
he's too smart, and
man.
his wife told him no.
Well, there you go. He was smart enough to listen to his wife. Hell yeah. I mean, that job is just, you look at all the presidents, you look at them year 1, and if you're a 2-term president, you look at them around between year 6 and 8, and you're like, they just look like they've aged 20, 30 years. I mean, you look at Obama, you look at Joe Biden, but he looked old when he got in there. But they just aged. Clinton looked, man, that dude was spry. He was on Arsenio Hall playing the saxophone, living his best life. Yeah. By the time he got out of there, that dude looked like he had aged 100 years, man.
Yeah. But, some of it by his own doing, most likely. Like, he didn't seem like he was. I was a huge fan of Bill Clinton when he first came out. I mean, it was our generation. Like, you're right. In the Arsenio Hall show, I was like, I'm voting for him. He's
playing the saxophone. He got to be the best.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about politics, and I didn't care. It was just like, oh, that's cool. I want somebody cool and be president.
Right.
It's different now.
Yeah, man.
None of them are cool.
Yeah, I don't think any politicians are cool, but that's for another podcast. Yeah. That's not for us.
Yeah. We just want to jump into some fight stuff. I just saw Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
That's happening.
That is happening
on Netflix.
Live on Netflix.
July 20th.
It's an exhibition.
Is it?
Mike Tyson's almost 60 years old, dude. It's an exhibition. It's a money grab.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a power move. You're on Netflix, ad-free, live. That's going to be, Jake, you say what you want about Jake Paul. Okay. Jake Paul knows how to make money. That dude's been making money since he was 5 years old.
Yeah.
That dude knows how to make money. And the problem with it, if you go into these arenas that you're not known to have knowledge or wisdom of, you go in because you have an infrastructure. You have a team that's going to set up and says, okay, this is how we're going to attack this, and this is how we're going to be successful. He's just a good boxer. You say what you want. He is just a good boxer, man. And he's gone in there, and for the most part, he's beaten former MMA, UFC fighters who have knowledge of boxing, but they're not boxers. Mm-hmm. And then, when he beat Anderson Silva, they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this guy has something.
Yeah.
And then he has gone in there and beaten some legitimate boxers. And the ones he hasn't beaten, he's had competitive fights with Tommy Fury.
Yeah.
But he doesn't care about belts or rankings. He's a prize fighter. He wants to go in there and make money, and that's what he's doing. And for someone, relatively speaking, what he had, like 10 fights? I think he has like 10 fights. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have that many fights. And he's going in there. He's the A side of these of these contract signings in these fights. And he's going to bring in the best, arguably the best heavyweight fighter who's ever done it.
Yeah.
And it's a money grab. It's not going to be, I don't think he's going to be in danger. I don't think Mike's going to try to knock him out.
No.
I don't think he's going to try to knock Mike out. You can't bring Jake Paul in and have him disrespect the game like that. So,
do you think, but as far as like Jake Paul standing toe to toe looking at Mike Tyson, will there be a moment being like, what did I just do? Or will there be like, I'm so confident in myself that I think I can tag this old man, and like I think I can take him down. And if he does tag him, does the old Mike Tyson switch get turned on and then it's over?
Did you see the Roy Jones Tyson fight?
I didn't.
That was the most boring shit I ever seen in my life. And it's because, neither one of them tried to knock each other out.
Yeah.
It was an exhibition, so I think this was going to happen here.
But maybe, and this is just me hoping for some action. Maybe Jake Paul's too young still to be like, nah, I think I'm going to make a name for myself even bigger than it is.
Nah.
I like this fame.
Nah.
No. Okay.
Nope.
All right.
I think if Tyson doesn't win by decision, they're going to call it an exhibition.
Yeah.
4 rounds. Call it a day.
Wow. Is that all it's going to be is 4 rounds? Or is that
none of those details are out yet. But.
Okay. All right. A real fight that seems to have like, well, this is an old fight, but I just saw an interview with Francis Ngannou. He was talking and Tyson was in the audience talking, and Francis is like, lucky for you, where there's boxing rules. And he was just going off. It was really like, I would never want to stand in front of Francis Ngannou and be like, yeah, let's go down. He's like, you're lucky we have protection, we have rules, because outside of this ring, I would kill you. Like, oh man. So
I gotta agree. He's fighting Anthony Joshua this weekend.
Francis?
Yeah.
Wow.
This might be the end of Anthony Joshua's career, y'all. Seriously. Anthony has been on the downslope for the last 3-4 years. I just think he's not hungry for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And Francis is the wrong person to go into the ring with that mentality with. I think second round knockout. Wow. Calling it.
Okay. All right.
Any bets? Any bets, y'all?
Yeah.
Comments.
Yeah. He's called it. Who's going to prove him wrong? Anybody? We'll see.
I know. Seriously, I think Francis is so dangerous of a striker.
Mm-hmm.
He's so big and so strong. And we've seen Joshua get knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And by, Ruiz. Was it Ruiz? Yes. And, he was like, and while he's a great boxer, he's nowhere near as big and strong as Ngannou is.
And Ngannou's like fast.
And yeah, he's an athlete. That dude used to literally break rocks.
Yeah. That's so crazy. The dude is like,
the dude used to break rocks.
That's crazy.
Who the fuck needs to break rocks?
Clearly Francis.
Oh man.
That's how you make a warrior. That's how you make a warrior. Oh, the other thing that jumping back to Zack Snyder, and he was talking about 300 and the Spartans, and how the Spartans were obviously the most feared warriors and what they did to train. So I bet you they broke rocks too.
They didn't even break rocks. They shit, bro. It's already a rock.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God. But yeah, that was really cool to kind of hear about, like, Zack Snyder just talking about 300 and how he was like, they were like, it was so innovative that what you did with 300. And he's like, no, the technology's been there. He's like, just watch the local news. He's like, the weatherman does it. Screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the way that he shot it, though, yeah.
But it was cool to hear him kind of have some humility. He was humble.
He was modest. Yeah,
he was modest. Yeah. That was
sure,
cool.
man. Speaking of Zack Snyder, so we have, kind of Zack Snyder. James Gunn, the first, they start shooting Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna call it Superman Legacy anymore. I think they're changing the name of it. They have the symbol for Superman. They released that, and the cast obviously has been released, but they start shooting on it. So
yeah, I'm excited for that. That'll be cool. Superman, like Henry Cavill, because also Zack Snyder was talking about Henry Cavill is Superman. And even Gina Carano was like, he's Superman. It was because Gina Carano was just interviewed on, where was she? I was just listening to something. She was on there and talking about how she's so funny. They dated for a long time.
Yeah.
And when they first met, she thought he was just a acting coach. She didn't realize Henry Cavill was Superman.
Really?
And he never told her because they didn't want it to get out until it was like that moment. But I don't know. I still feel like that's going to be a tough Superman to follow.
You can't take Gina Carano's word for that, though.
No?
She used to date the guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's like the one that got away.
Yeah.
So you're going to say, you ever, had a girlfriend who just wouldn't let you go?
She's that. Are you saying she's crazy?
I didn't say that. Don't you dare. Don't you dare put those words in my mouth. But I can see how, if you were dating Henry Cavill, you break up with Henry Cavill, you carry a flame for Henry Cavill that Henry Cavill can do no wrong in your eyes.
Yeah.
He's the best. Yeah. In her eyes, he's the best fucking Superman ever. He's better than Christopher Reeves. But
do you think Henry Cavill would have been a good James Bond? because they were talking. The other thing they were talking about in this podcast. Oh, it was PBD, Patrick Bet David. She was on, and they were say who would be your top 3 actors to be the next James Bond.
I don't think. While I think he has like the smoothness of James Bond, like the whole smooth spy thing going on, I don't think he would. Idris Elba. Just a cool motherfucker, man. Cool dude, yep. Man, who else is just effortlessly cool? I don't know.
They had mentioned, and here I go with my names again. Who played Venom, the actor.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. They mentioned Tom Hardy.
I could kind of see Tom Hardy. Oh man.
And then who played Deadshot? Not Will Ferrell.
Will Smith?
Will Smith, not Will Smith. Who played Deadshot before him? He's an Irish actor.
Oh,
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
No.
Man.
Right, but I agree. Idris Elba. I think
Idris for sure.
They were talking about
he's
him.
Probably the front runner.
Yeah. But Henry Cavill, he played when he was in what was that Netflix? Not Shakespeare. Jeez. Holmes.
Oh yeah.
What was it when Eleven played Holmes? I don't remember these actors' names. It's terrible. But he was pretty cool playing Sherlock Holmes, I thought. So he kind of had that cool.
Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, it was no. So Henry Cavill played in the Holmes Netflix movie that the main actress from Stranger Things.
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah. So he was playing Sherlock Holmes, and she was the sister. But he kind of played a cool kind of role in that as well. But
what about the lead from Peaky Blinders?
Yeah,
he has kind of like a real kind of laid back smoothness going on. Yeah, well, I can see him playing that.
Yeah. Do you think? And this is a lot of pushback, I think, with the whole. And I might just get in trouble for this one, but like James Bond's supposed to be like a womanizer. I mean, he's supposed to be like. I mean, right?
Historically, yes. Yeah. He doesn't have to be, I guess.
But the books, like based on the books and what it was all about, like that's part of James Bond's backstory. He was, and it's like, why is he a womanizer? Why does he have the shake and not stir? Why does he drink? Because it's like, in order to do what somebody does, they have to have an outlet. They have to have something that they escape from. And if it's booze, drugs, women, whatever it is, I mean, people have that thing. So it's like, that's part of it. And like, it's not to sexualize or use women. It's just that's how he deals with things.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, I'm not a woman, so I can't look at it that way. But
who's the best womanizers out there who can play a role? Or like Armie Hammer? Is he? That's fucked up. Nah, just...
Say Katt Williams. Do it. Go for it.
Oh man, nah. I mean, are they even casting? Because I know the current James Bond. He's done.
He's done.
Yep. Well, I'm forgetting his name.
I'm rubbing off on you. That's like I can't.
So,
it's
man,
right
well,
there
recast it. Yep. Get it in there.
But people were all upset about that. I know somebody in the comments might remember his name, but that he was blonde. People are all upset about, how can you have a blonde James Bond?
Yeah.
Like, well, he did a great job being James Bond.
Yeah, he was great. So. Actually, it's rumored that Henry Cavill is playing Captain Britain for Marvel.
Oh, is that where it's going? Okay.
That's where everyone's assuming it was going. I mean, that was a fan casting a long time ago.
Yeah.
And here recently, it's picked up steam. And it's been reports from some more legitimate sources, which, you know, he is going to play a role for Marvel. They don't know if it's Captain Britain yet, but I mean, and there's been no rumblings of doing any Captain Britain style story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not to say that they can't, because they definitely can.
Yeah.
The one thing I did think think that the Fox universe did well with Marvel is do like origin stories, like Wolverine origin story, because that gives you an opportunity to go away from what's canon and then do like these Elseworld and side stories without you messing with the canon stuff. So, or the main continuity stuff. So I think they should do that. Like, you know, if you want to do, you know, gender swap shit, do Elseworld stories, do you know, you can do X-Men Origins Magneto, X-Men Origins Storm, X-Men Origins whoever, and they give you an opportunity to put out more content but not mess with the main timeline stuff.
Totally agree.
You should do that, because X-Men Origins Wolverine was probably one of the better, if not the best, Wolverine movie.
100%. Did you see anything new about The Witcher? I saw I think I saw a photo of the actor that's going to be the new Witcher, and there was like a bit of a pushback on why he looks the way he does.
Liam Hemsworth? I haven't seen him in costume. Have you seen him in the whole thing?
Yeah, I don't know if it was, you know, again, it's on the internet. I don't know if it was real or not, but I mean, I didn't mind it, but people were like, ugh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's just a fan. Again, stop telling them. Well, for that situation, you got to tell us, because you know, it's one actor, and now it's a whole another actor. You know, so you got to tell us that one. But man, the fans are gonna bite your head off, y'all.
Yeah,
be prepared.
The Star Wars fans are into the lore, into the mythology. They know the stories, and I can now understand, like, as a casual fan, and now seeing the enthusiasts and the ones that go to the conventions, I get why there's so much pushback. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
so, you know,
I get it too. Like, you're who's gonna win is the question,
right?
Are other fans gonna raise enough shit and be enough of the fan base to where your movies are gonna make little enough money that's gonna make you, you know, change things up, or is what you put out and you're just gonna stay devoted to putting out what you want to put out and hope that the fans fall in line? Remains to be seen.
With Zack Snyder saying that the whole streaming thing is gonna really kind of take over, and Disney still, and I wonder if that's why they're doubling down on Disney Plus, but like, if you're putting out movies and they're pulling back from creating movies, so like, money's gonna be the judge.
Money's gonna be the judge. And Netflix, they got plenty of money to throw around. They got plenty of money, dude. For streaming, shit. There's no close second.
Nope. Cool.
We'll man, closing arguments.
Closing arguments.
Like we in court.
To close out real quick, Bad Batch season 2. I just finished the finale, and it was pretty good. I'm excited to start season 3. So that's going to be, we'll hopefully cover that a little bit next episode.
I need to get on the Bad Batch.
It's pretty good.
I am definitely watching some boxing this weekend. Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua is going to be a banger. Invincible season 2, second half of season 2 starts next the end of the month.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be all hands on deck for that. It's gonna be good. Anything else coming out? Anything big coming out? The Boys. That's not till summer. But
okay. No, I don't think so. But now I get, also Zack Snyder talked about The Boys, so you should listen to that podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did he say about The Boys?
He just said that
of it.
He says it's really good because of the whole story arc of how superheroes. He's like, now people don't idolize these superheroes in their lack of flaws, but now they're loving superheroes because of their flaws and because of their backstories and because of, so like, again, doubling down on the whole point of content and where these flaws come from, why the people have these coping mechanisms, or so it was really interesting. It was like hearing a director's point of view of why things are the way they are. That was very insightful. So, but yeah, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. I am Antoine the Juggernaut on Instagram. Follow the Alpha Geek Instagram page. It's the Alpha Geek Podcast on IG. That's how you find me.
That's how you find you. And you can still just find me right here on YouTube. You can go on my Instagram, but I'm very inactive.
On YouTube. Yeah. Guys, go in the comments and tell us what you think. Who you think will be a great James Bond recast.
Yes.
I'm be interested in, because I positive that you guys are gonna put someone up, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, that's obvious, you know. So
yeah.
But
our top pick, I think we agree on this one, is definitely Idris Elba.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, he is super cool.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Thank you guys for joining in to the Alpha Geek Podcast. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.